a really important topic, and that is how to regain control in your life, especially in areas of your life that you didn't choose, or areas of your life where you didn't feel like you had a say, and something maybe bad happened to you or traumatic. Last night we were watching a show on TV called Undercover Boss. It's a fun show if you've never seen it. It's like a CEO of a company goes undercover and pretends to be an employee or like a trainee in different areas of his company so that he can see what's going on, and he meets some of the employees and people running like the behind the scenes stuff. And it's a fun show. It's, you get to hear the stories of the people, and it's heartwarming, and at the end they usually like get something. The CEO usually will reward them with like an awesome gift or money or a trip or something. Anyway, so we're watching the show with my husband Mike, and this one guy, he's got this story, and he starts talking to the guy, the undercover boss, about his story and about the things that have happened to him that were just really hard, and it was a really, really dark time in his life, and it was a really bad thing that happened to him. And I looked over at Mike and I was like, that guy is telling your story. Like, you could have said that exact story word for word, but it's so interesting how I've never heard you tell anyone that story. Because the truth is that we are defined by the stories that we tell. And Mike has never allowed himself to be defined by that story, and that's why he doesn't tell it. It's not that it didn't happen. It's just that he doesn't put any focus there, and therefore he's not coming into the world from a place of being a victim of that story, right? So most of us, we think that we are defined by the things, the events that happen to us. We feel as though we kind of go through life and good things happen, a lot of bad things happen, a lot of things happen that are outside of our control. A lot of things happened in our childhood that we didn't get a say-so, right? And then we take all of these events that have happened to us and we start to tell stories. And the way in which that we remember those events, which you always have to know that the way that you remember an event and the way that the event actually happened, there's always going to be a difference there. It's never going to be exactly how you remember it. A lot of events that have happened a long time ago, you actually don't even remember the actual event. You're just remembering the last time that you remembered it. So you're remembering your memories. And as you're remembering your memories, the experience is changing, right? It's not the exact experience that happened. Anyway, you're choosing to remember it from the perception that you had at that time or that you have now. And so you go through your life telling these stories, and these are the stories that are defining you because, first of all, the person that's hearing the story, they're making a judgment call based on what they're hearing, based on what you're projecting, right? They are in their mind creating an opinion on you based on that story that you tell. And what do? A lot of times we meet somebody new, we meet somebody for the first time, like this guy on Undercover Boss had never met this guy before in his life, and he goes down into the deepest, darkest, saddest story that he could have ever told, right? And put himself into this position of not really a position of power at all. I mean, there's no power from a place when you don't feel like you have control. When you feel like something just happened to you, there's no power there, right? So this guy could have told a million other stories. I mean, think about your life. Think about the complexity of your life. Think about all of the things that you've experienced in your life, good and bad. How do you decide which parts and which pieces are worthy of the story that you're going to tell to others? And then from that story, where are you gonna where are you gonna go in your future? Like, is it setting you up for success? Is it setting you up for happiness? Or is it setting you up for finding more things to be really upset about and to really feel hurt about and to feel like you don't have control over? It's really important to think about these things, because what it comes down to is the fact that you have all the power all the time. Your life isn't just unfolding for you. You are actually creating your life. So with everything that happens, the reason why you actually do have a choice, even when you feel like you don't, is because you have the power of your focus. So you can choose to focus on that event that happened to you, that was awful, that was terrible, that you didn't deserve, it shouldn't have happened, it wasn't right, it wasn't fair. You can choose to focus on that, and you can choose to keep talking about it. And here's another thing that happens when we talk about, what happens when we talk about something to anyone. Anytime we have a conversation, we start talking, the person that's listening wants to find something to agree with you on. It's just human nature, right? So you're complaining about something, or you're talking about something really, really sad that happened to you. I'm also trying to think of something similar that I went through so that I can relate to you. And before you know it, where does that conversation go? It's not a positive conversation. It turns into a negative conversation, because we are bouncing off of one another. We are mirroring one another. It's just nature. It's just how it is. That's why they say, surround yourself with positive people and you'll be positive too. Surround yourself with successful people, you will be successful also, because that's just how it works. We mirror what we see. So, now I lost my train of thought. But when you're talking to a stranger, or when you're talking to someone new, or even when you're just talking to a friend, it's important that you always remember that you have so much power in the decisions that you're making with the stories that you're telling. Pick a story for your life, for yourself, for your past and your future, that's gonna make you feel empowered, that's gonna make you feel happy and strong and excited. We have to stop telling these sad stories, because as we tell them, as we focus on them, we create more of them. We literally create more of them. If we were to agree that we will only start to seek out just the best stuff out of our day, just the positive stuff out of our day, out of our childhoods, out of our vacations or trips that we took, and we just only came back and talked about those positive things, we would see such a shift and such a change in our realities that you wouldn't even recognize your life a year from now. We do this on social media all the time. You go on vacation, right? You go on vacation, and what do? You take a picture to post on Facebook. You take a picture of the beautiful sunset. You take a picture of the gardens. You take a picture of your kid eating ice cream and he's got this big smile on his face. You take a picture of your husband with your spouse, a little selfie, something cute, something on the beach, good lighting, right? You want to have a good angle. You want to highlight the good parts of your trip, because you know how you felt on that trip. How you usually, when you go on a trip, when you go on a vacation, you feel so good, you feel so happy, you feel just a newness, a new way of seeing the world. It's a new space. It helps you to really kind of rediscover a lot of great things and aspects about your relationships and about yourself, because you're in a new space. So you're not just remembering like your day-to-day, your familiar tasks, this and this. You're sort of in a new space, which allows you to see things in a new, fresh way, which allows you to feel really, really good a lot of the times. And so we take these vacation pictures and we post them on Facebook, and it's a highlight. And it's beautiful. And everybody comments like, oh, so beautiful, amazing. And then they might think like, gee, I wish I could take a vacation, right? It just looks so great. But then, have you ever had the experience where someone posts like an awesome resort or an awesome place, and then you go there and then like it's not as beautiful as it looked on the pictures because there's a dumpster next to the hotel and there's like maybe a stinky smell on the beach, like when the seaweed comes out in the morning and the seaweed kind of smells fishy or whatever. Or maybe you get into an argument with your husband on the trip, or maybe your kids are super annoying, or you're exhausted and you're jet lagged, or you're sunburned, or you're anxious because you're thinking about what's going on at home or at work. So you're in this beautiful place, but you have all these feelings and you have all of these experiences, not just the beautiful ones, right? We have a whole array of experiences when we're on a trip. But we tend to post and show the beautiful parts because we want our friends to see the beautiful parts, the parts that we really, we were just excited and felt happy about while we were there. And it's not that it's fake. So a lot of people say, well, social media is so fake because it's just, people just show the good parts. But it's not that it's fake. It's just that your focus is on those good things, and that's what everyone else sees, and that's what everyone else expects the next time they go on vacation. And then sometimes they might be a little surprised to see that there's a lot of different moving parts to the place that you visited. Okay, but it is in your power to focus on that good stuff. So something negative happens or something that makes you feel upset happens, observe it, notice it. Try not to judge yourself over it, and then go right back into focusing on the good stuff. This is going to keep you happy. This is going to keep you wanting to discover more in your life, wanting to create more in your life. There's nothing worse than the feeling of not feeling like you're in control. There's nothing worse than the feeling of not feeling like you're free. Everybody wants to feel free. Everybody wants to feel freedom. And when you are staying in your old stories and you're staying stuck in your past and reliving those stories, you're not free. You're not free. You're a prisoner to that story. Be willing to let it go for the sake of your own freedom and your own happiness. Be willing to let go of that story. Be willing to choose a new story. Be willing to pick something else. If it's from your childhood, if it's from your past, you've had 1,000 experiences. You've had 1,000,000 experiences throughout your entire childhood. Can you dig and find the good ones? Can you dig and find the positive ones, the uplifting ones, the incredible, amazing ones? Can you find the ways that people in your life loved you and supported you and made you feel happy and made you feel good about yourself? Can you go back in your memory and pick out those bits and pieces of your life and start to talk about them and maybe encourage others to do that for the people in their lives? As we talk about encouraging things, we encourage others. The thing is, we're always impacting the people around us. Whether you think you are or you're not, whether you think you matter or you don't, whether you think, maybe you're not an outgoing person, maybe you kind of keep it to yourself, maybe you're shy like I was. I was always very, very shy. And I would never come on here and do a live like this. I would never speak in front of a group. I hated school. Hated school because I was terrified of talking to people. I was just that way. And I just kept saying that story that I am just a shy person. And that's just the way it is. And that's just the way it's always been. And that's the way it's always going to be. And that's the story that I told for many, many years until that story didn't serve me anymore. I decided that story wasn't serving me anymore because actually I was lying to myself. Actually, I wasn't living my best life. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be. I wasn't stepping into the power that I knew was in there. I mean, I didn't know, but I kind of suspected that I had power inside of me. You know, there were things that kind of stirred it up within me. I went to some events. I read some really great books. I had great mentors in my life that started to stir up this idea of maybe I'm a little more powerful than I'm allowing myself to be. And when I realized that, when I started to get those little like nudges, right? I believe those little nudges are literally God speaking to us. I really do. Those little nudges, those little gut feelings that you get in your stomach, that's God speaking to you. That's God telling you, like, do this. This is the thing that you need to do to get to where you need to go. Because the thing is, like, God knows exactly where you want to go. He knows exactly. He knows every thought you've ever had. He knows every desire you've ever had. He knows exactly where you want to go and who you want to be. He already knows. And then he gives you like these little nudges, these little hints to do the things that will get you there, but we ignore them a lot. We ignore them all the time. And then when we ignore them, we usually end up not feeling very good, and we usually end up not feeling very happy. And that's our indicator that we're not following our gut instincts. So I realized about, I think it's been like maybe 8 years now, maybe it's been 9 years now, that I wasn't fully living my life the way I truly know that I could. And I really, really, really wanted to run a successful business. And I wanted to run a successful business in the marketing space and the networking space. And I knew that I had to get out there and talk to people. Like, there's not really many businesses that you can build without building relationships with people in one way or another. But because I was so scared of talking to people, and I was introverted, and I didn't have a really big group of friends or a really big circle, I just knew that I had to start practicing. I knew that I had to get out there and like literally practice talking to people. And that's what I did. I just would go up to someone at the playground, one of the other moms, when the kids were playing. I'd go up to one of the other moms and I would say hi. And I'd ask her a question about herself, and I made it all about her. I made it all about her, nothing about me. I didn't really want to talk about me. That was a lot, but I could put the focus on her. So I asked her a question about maybe where did she get her shoes, and then from that answer, I'd come up with another question, and from that answer, I'd come up with another question. And you'd be really, really surprised to know that people actually love to talk about themselves. When you ask them questions, they open up pretty quick. People will tell you a whole lot of stuff in a really short amount of time if you just ask them questions and then close your mouth and listen and let them answer. So that's what I started to do. I started to practice with the cashier at the grocery store. Hi, how are you? Instead of just paying for my stuff and leaving and, with my head down. Hi, how are you? Are you having a great day? I love that blouse on you. Your hair looks pretty. And, you just see people light up and smile, and people love to get little compliments like that. And all you have to do is just step out of your shell a little bit, in my case. But what I realized is that I was actually impacting people whether or not I thought I was, whether or not I was introverted or, making the conscious choice to talk to people. I was impacting them either way. And just your energy, just your mood impacts people. You have an energy field around you. You're literally vibrating. Every object, dead or alive, has a vibration. It can be tested. There's tools that can test the energy and the vibration, basically, of an object. And, high frequency is good, makes you feel good, makes you feel healthy, makes you feel energized. Low frequencies, you're feeling sick, you're not feeling good, you're not feeling healthy, you're in a bad mood, you're in a low place. But the thing is that our energy fields, they go out about 6 feet around us. So if you extend out your arms around, that's about how far around your energy field is. So as you are conversing with other people, they can feel your energy subconsciously and you feel theirs. And so your high energy raises the energy of others. Your low energy raises or lowers energy of others, and vice versa. My mom always says this example, and it's really good, is that if you take hot water and you combine it with ice cold water, you're going to make warm, right? You're not going to turn the ice cold water hot, and you're not going to turn the hot water ice cold. But what's going to happen is it's going to be an average of both, right? And that's the same thing that happens with our energies. But the higher that you can get your energy, the better of a chance that you have that if you come in contact with someone with low energy, that your energy is not going to go down to the floor, right? It's just it might dip down a little bit. You're going to raise up theirs a little bit. And then you have the choice right away to lift up your energy right after that conversation that you have with someone. If you feel like somebody is lowering your energy, lowering your vibration, lowering your mood, just switch your focus. Right after you're done with the conversation, switch your focus to something that's going to make you feel better. But what do? We have a conversation with somebody that makes us angry. They infuriate us. They, bring us down. And then what do? We get on the phone with a friend and we share our experience. You are not going to believe what so-and-so just said to me, right? And so now we're taking the experience that we just had where our vibration was lowered, our energy was brought down, and we get on the phone and we bring down the energy of someone else. And we're also staying in this low energy. So we're not only staying low, going lower, but now we're sharing the love and we're bringing down another person. And then more than likely that person, it's a domino effect. More than likely that person's going to go on and do the same thing, right? So this is why your focus, what you are thinking about, what you are talking about, what you are looking for, your focus, where you are choosing to look, where you are choosing to aim that camera and take the picture for Facebook, right? Am I choosing to take a picture of the dumpster and the seaweed and the bugs and the, dirty part of the hotel? No, I'm taking my pictures of the really pretty sunset. I'm basically ignoring the bad stuff, the negative stuff. So when you first start doing this, it might seem like you're lying to yourself. It might seem like you're fake. It might seem like, well, I can't just ignore all these bad things in my life because they're there. It's the reality. The reality is there, and I can't just ignore it because I can't just pretend like it's not there. I can't just lie like it's not there because it is there. And that is true. It is there. And you are 100% valid and correct in feeling whatever you need to feel and whatever you felt when it happened to you. Whatever that you felt, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't regret any of it. Whatever happened to you happened for one reason or another. We don't know why. Maybe one day we'll know. Maybe one day it will all make sense and you'll realize that your soul needed that experience, wanted that experience even, so that you could create a desire within you that would be so strong for something different, for something better. Maybe that's the reason why we have bad experiences, is to create this burning desire for something bigger and better. Because if we didn't have a really, really bad experience, how would we ever have a strong enough desire for a really good experience and for a good life and for a great life? How would you create any of the things that you've been able to create so far in your life if you didn't have any of those things showing you in the past of what you didn't want? You have to know what you don't want in order to know what you do want. You have to know what it feels like to be hated in order to know what it feels like to be loved. You have to know what it feels like to be freezing cold in order to appreciate the summertime heat. That's just how it works. If it was always perfect, if we were always lukewarm, then no desire would be born within us. And so I think bad things happen to us for the purpose of birthing desire. But we never want to stay there. We never want to stay in the bad place. We always want to use it as a pushing off point. So this happened to me. This is part of my story. This is part of my experience. This is a part of what shaped me. Now, what am I going to do about it? What are my next steps? How am I going to figure out to put my focus on something else so that I can get myself into a better feeling mood, so that I can get myself into a higher energy space, so that I can start creating something better? When you're in a high energy, high frequency, high vibrating, high feeling, good mood up here, when you're up there, this is where you can create. You can create from that space. And you can create anything you want, truly anything you want. You look at any person that you find to be like, someone that's reached success, or someone that has something that you have. Don't look at them and think, oh, good for them, or must be nice, or whatever. Look at them and see nothing but possibility. If they were able to create it, that means it's possible. If they were able to build it, that means that there's a way to do it. So if one person was able to do it, chances are 2 people can do it. Chances are anybody can do it. You just have to figure out how. Your way is not going to be the same as their way. Your how is not going to be their how. But whenever you see someone living a great life, having great relationships, having success in their lives, having abundance in their lives, having freedom in their lives, having time freedom, having all these amazing experiences, travel, whatever it is for you, that just you see it and you're like, oh, that looks so great. Look for those things. Look for those things that you think are just so awesome and so great and that you would love to experience. And then see the possibility. See the possibility. Feel the possibility. Start asking for guidance. Start asking for those little nudges so that you can get hints of what your next step should be, that you should take, so that you can get closer to that. But you can only start to feel the nudges and experience the nudges and get the ideas and create from the space of feeling amazing and vibrating high. And if you're retelling your same old story, if you're retelling your victim story, if you're retelling your childhood stories, if you're pulling in strangers that don't know anything about you, and you're choosing to introduce yourself with a victim story, you're not putting yourself in a place of power. You're not allowing yourself a chance to build the life that you really want. Don't stay there. Releasing, accepting is one thing. Accepting that it happened, releasing, feeling what you need to feel, releasing, and don't stay there. Staying there is the mistake that people make. People relive the same week, day, year for their entire lives. And it's a choice. It is a choice. And I'm not minimizing the bad thing that happened. There have been so many things that have happened in my life that people don't even know about. People that know me don't know these things about me because I choose not to tell those stories. And it's not just that I don't tell the story. It's not that I'm suppressing it. People think, well, if you suppress it, if you keep it inside, then it's just going to eat you up alive and one day you're going to explode. And that's not true. That is only true if you keep it inside, don't talk about it, but you think about it all the time. Then yes, then it will fester up and you will explode. And it's a very bad thing to do. So that is not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is that you stop talking about it and you stop thinking about it and you replace the thought with something else. You replace that memory with other memories. What I'm saying is, yes, you've had a bad memory. Yes, you've had a bad experience, but you've also had thousands and thousands, if not millions, depending how old you are, of positive experiences that you have forgotten about, that you are choosing not to remember, that you are choosing not to talk about. Make a new choice. Choose to talk about the good things so that you can start to see more good coming into your life, so that you can start building, so that you can start feeling freedom in your life. You know what the ultimate freedom is? The ultimate freedom is when you choose that you're going to feel a certain way, you choose that you're going to put your focus on positive things, and then no matter what happens around you, because you can't control, there's so much you can't control. And you certainly can't control what people say, and you certainly can't control what people do, and you can't control the stupid, ignorant things that are going to come out of their mouths that are going to be, just insensitive or rude or mean. You can't control that. You cannot control anything that anyone ever says or does. Let's just put that out there right now. And let's just make that a fact. We cannot control anything. No matter how hard we try, no matter how much we argue with people, no matter how much we yell at our kids, no matter how much we, infuriate ourselves trying to get people to make these changes for us, it's not going to happen, because we have zero control over what anybody ever says about us, to us, thinks about us, says about us, whatever. But we only have one piece of control, and that is where we put our focus, right? So I can choose to focus on that stupid thing that stupid person did, or I can choose to focus on something that feels better to me. But that's the ultimate freedom, because if nobody can mess with your good feeling place, if nobody can bring you down with their stupid stuff that they do or say, then you're free. You're completely free. Think about that. I mean, it seems so stupid and so basic, but it's like the stepping stone to complete and utter freedom and happiness. And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be free and happy? We all do. We all do. So start practicing by shifting your focus, and you'll start getting better at it too. So here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to beat yourself up. I did this for a long time, because when I learned all of these things, it's one thing to know, and it's another thing to implement. Two very, very different things. And you can reach a place in your life where you know a lot of really, really great information, and you've had a lot of really good teachers, and you start to have this enlightenment, and you start to understand and to see. And then from that place you feel empowered. But then what feels disempowering is when you are not implementing the things that you know. And sometimes it can actually feel worse to know and not implement than it did before, when you just didn't know any better. I've said this before. Sometimes I wish I didn't know any of these things, because now it's just like I know it's on me. I can't blame not feeling good on anything but myself, because I already know how much power I have. I've already learned all the steps I need to take. I've already learned all these tools, and I have them. But if I'm not implementing them, that just feels even worse, right, than before, when I just didn't even know any better. So here's what I had to learn. Don't beat yourself up over the learning curve that it takes to get there. So step one is learning and creating these tools that I am teaching to you, that I'm sharing with you, that I've learned, that have worked for me and many of the people that I are in my circle. So step 1 is to learn. And step 2 is to live from that space and to actually live what you know to be true, right? And sometimes there's a gap and there's a learning curve, and it's going to take some time. It is going to take some time because your natural way of living, and it's really not natural. It's not that it's natural. It's just that we've gotten so used to it that it becomes second nature, that we just tend to be negative. We just tend to focus on negative stuff. We tend to, bad news always gets more eyeballs than good news. Always, always, always. Any bad story, the more sensational, the better. The worse, the more dramatic, the better. It will always get more eyeballs. Just look at any media, social media, the news, TV, reality TV, you name it. If there's drama, if there's a fight, if there's an explosion, if there's a murder, if someone's hurt, bad stuff is going down, that's the stuff that everybody wants to know. What happened? What happened? Tell me more. Give me the details. They're sharing it with their friends. You're seeing it replayed in slow motion. You're seeing it shared all over the place. It's just, I don't know why it's become that way in our society, but bad news is always going to get so much more airtime than good news ever will. And good news stories are just like a little blimp, just like a little, nobody even pays it any attention. You could have somebody that will do so much good for the world and Mother Teresa style, constantly doing good and giving back and solving world hunger and doing all these amazing things. But the one time that they will be, in the spotlight for some kind of drama, that's what they're going to be known for. That's what they're going to get the attention over. And so when you see a lot of bad news stories in your personal life and in the world around you, on the news and on TV and on just media in general, just know that there is not more bad in the world than good at all. There isn't. There is, always was, and always will be more good in the world than there is bad. It's just that it doesn't get highlighted like the bad stuff does. It doesn't get shared like the bad stuff does. Same with your own life, and you can see it in your own day. How many great, awesome, cool things happen to you in a day? But when you get on the phone with your girlfriend, what do you talk about? The traffic jam on the way home. The stupid guy that cut you off on the road, or, those are the things we're sharing. And we just do it on autopilot. We do it without thinking about it. But now what I want you to start doing is to start being aware. And start choosing more deliberately the stories that you're not only telling, but also remembering and especially thinking about. So it's not just what you're telling, it's also what you're thinking about. Think about things that feel good to you. Remember memories that feel good to you. And if you ignore the bad ones, if you stop thinking about them, if you stop talking about them, if you stop introducing yourself to strangers with those stories, you're going to starve them to death and they're going to go away. It doesn't mean that they didn't happen, but they don't have to be taken into your current now moment. They can stay in that past moment where they belong. They happened there. They created what they needed to create as far as the desire within you for something better in your life, which was created at the time. And they served their purpose at the time that they happened. They do not serve you anymore in this time, in this present time. So we are going to allow them to die and go away and release into the nothingness by starving them, by not allowing them any more of our focus as far as thoughts, memories, and talking. And as you remember that you can always choose a new thought, you can allow yourself to make the mistake that you will make, and you will still have the tendency to revisit those negative things because you've done it for so long. So don't expect that you're just gonna, flip a switch and right away you're gonna be the most positive, brightest, lightest person that ever walked the earth. But you can get there with baby steps. So allow yourself to just remember, in the moment where you're being negative, in a moment where you're being a victim, in a moment where you're retelling a story that already served its purpose and is not serving one any longer, in those moments, just make a new choice. Just back it up, make a new choice. Start talking about something different. Don't beat yourself up. Allow yourself the grace to make the changes to better your life and every single person around you. As we allow ourselves to expand into a bigger, greater version of ourselves, we give permission to everyone around us, including our kids, including our spouses, including our friends, our parents, our coworkers, our bosses, strangers. Every single person around you benefits when you make the choice to step into a greater version of yourself. And it's completely up to you. It's completely possible. And it's completely a choice that you have, that you can make here and now in this moment, and leaving the past where it belongs, in the past. Hope this helps you. I hope you're having an awesome Monday. It just started raining, pretty good. I gotta go check in on those little surfers, see if they're see how they're doing with this weather. But anyway, have a good one, and we'll talk soon. Bye.